What's up, everyone? It's your boy Xmanny87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends review video. And what I have for you today is the Amazon exclusive X-Men Marvel Legends Family Matters 3-pack with Magneto, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. And before I get into everything, if you could please leave a like rating on the video, I'll truly appreciate it. It'll show your support for my channel. And with that said, the box art is a standard window box packaging. I love the classic X-Men logo right here, you know, and shows all their accessories. And you got the 80 Years of Marvel logo at the bottom right. You got the side art, which is beautiful. I love looking at this right here. So, you know, got Magneto, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, same as the other side. On the back, you have panels showing the three of them. Pretty freaking cool. I love this art so much. The bio's right there if you want to pause it and read it. Again, side art on the side, and then you got the X-Men logo on the top. And you got the warning logo, so please make sure you don't choke on your action figures. Barcode UPC at the bottom. All right, now taking a look at Magneto first. Oh man, I'm so happy. I finally freaking got an updated Magneto because I was not happy with the Toys R Us exclusive one. He is my all-time favorite Marvel villain. Man, I'm so happy to have a new Magnus in my collection. So let's take a closer look at Magneto. So taking a look at the paint job first, man, it's really nice. I really love this metallic purple they got going on the helmet, and as well as the collar of the cape. That's freaking cool. I like that a lot. So the paint job came out really nice right there. And pretty much for the most part, all around the figure, I do have a paint slop that's really bad right there. I could probably get it with an X-Acto knife, but you know, that was stuck from the cape, so hopefully I can remove that. And you got a little paint slop right here in the bottom of the knee. I really like the boots. I dig it so much. I was worried because back when it went up for pre-order on Amazon during Toy Fair weekend, I believe, they showed this Magneto having red right here. And I'm like, oh god, that looks freaking terrible. It looks horrible. And I'm just happy to report that they fixed that issue, so it's purple, and I am freaking happy. And paints on the forearms, a little splotchy here, actually, taking a closer look. This, you know, it's just mine, so hopefully, you know, you guys won't have any issues there. And, you know, I really like this all around. As you see his cape here, I dig this a lot. It's black, and it's pretty much fading into, I'm so sorry, it's not black, it's actually a darker shade of purple, but it's really nice how it just kind of blends in with his cape, and for the most part, his cape is really beautiful. And going over the sculpting here, I really think that this head sculpt could have been a lot better. I am not totally happy with it. I would have preferred something like this head instead. So this helmet on top of this head would have been so freaking cool. Also would have been cool if he got like some of this long hair, you know, sticking out underneath the helmet there. That would have looked really cool. But it is, you know, it is another head sculpt in there. As you can see, it's pretty pliable, and it's a full head sculpt in there. So this was definitely on top of, the helmet's on top of the head. But much better than the Toys R Us exclusive one, as you can see here. Oh man, I hated that the crown on this helmet was so crooked too. Oh, I hated that. It's freaking annoying right there. But what do you think? Which head sculpt's better? Do you like this one, the older Magneto, or the newer one? Just feel like this one's way too young. Looking at some newly sculpted parts, you have the forearms right here. And you have the boots right here. The upper body is totally different from the Apocalypse Wave Magneto. So as you can see, that the forearms, the boots are totally different from each other, and the upper torso as well. Looking at this, I wish this Magneto had this upper torso, because I am very used to seeing the Jim Lee Magneto style where he has lots of bulk and mass. So in a perfect Marvel Legends world, I would have preferred this guy to be on the Red Guardian body. This has also been used for Wonder Man also, I believe. And just looking at this upper torso and the arms, and look at how thick the gams are, man. So some thick legs. This would have looked perfect on this. So that would have been my perfect Magneto. Especially if this upper torso had butterfly joints. That would have been cool, so you could capture those Magneto-esque pose, you know, when he's like levitating metal or something like that, you know? Also, I like how the helmet on the Apocalypse Wave, Black and Red Magneto, looks more than this one. I feel like this one has a more pill-shaped looking helmet. This one looks so good, so I just like the height difference. But then they're trying to capture that classic Magneto look. I can understand with trying to capture the crown design on front of his helmet. I don't know if it's called a crown, but I'm gonna call it a crown. As far as the cape goes, it's a little annoying that they added this peg, I guess, underneath the other peg. It's just annoying because when you try to plug it in, it's just kind of floating there, whereas the Jubilee Wave Magneto did not have that extra peg on there. It is kind of annoying because it kind of looks like it's, I don't know, I don't want to say not flowing naturally, but this is the issue I run into. Too much of this, man. The wiggling cape. It's just kind of annoying to handle while you're holding this figure, and also makes the collar piece right here stick out. You know, it just sticks outwards and it just doesn't look right. I wish it was more, you know, flush. Kind of an issue I ran into with the MCU Vision figure. So I just wish they can come up with something where it's like this. Like, I don't mind if it's sculpted in, and then you have the cape as a separate piece. Maybe. I don't know how that works. What do I know about designing action figures? I don't make them. I just play with them. How are you going to have Magneto display his powers of manipulating metal if he can't even control the metal collar on his cape? Just, ugh. You can see his belt is a separate piece, so you can adjust it, you know, higher or lower. I kind of just like to keep it in the middle there. Now to take a closer look at his accessories, this is the alternate head here, and it has a very mean grinning face, as you can see. One thing I do not like about this is definitely, well, the teeth. I mean, it's just, I would have preferred, I mean, the paint is just, it's bothering me because there's flesh painted behind the teeth. I wish it was more of a, I don't know, maybe like a dark red or black. It just, and also the teeth seems to be so far apart, man. It looks bad. I'm not feeling it. I mean, also, it looks like the face, the skin tone is a lot darker. I don't know if they were trying to capture that, you know, that shade so he could look like, you know, it's more blacked out. I've always liked that Magneto art where, you know, the inside is just blacked out and you could just see his white pupils. And I have some paint defect on this alternate head, as it looks, as you can see here, it's not fully painted where it should be in purple. And I experienced that a lot going around through the trim of the, you know, design in purple here. So they definitely missed some spots to fill in. He has two sets of open hands that look really, really nice. I think this finger right here came out warped out of the package. I mean, who could curve their finger like that? I mean, I can't do that. Ugh. He also includes two-fisted hands, and he has two power effects that look really, really cool. It's this nice translucent purplish color that has some sparkly specks painted on him, which is really, really nice. They kind of did this with Silver Surfer. And for some fun swaps, you can put the Eric Lenscher head from the Apocalypse Wave onto this figure, and I think it looks super freaking cool. It reminds me of the 90s X-Men animated series Magneto when he would take off his helmet. Definitely feel like that's an inspired look for this figure. Also, you could swap hands from that very same exact Magneto from the Apocalypse Wave to give him some powered up open hands, which looks really, really nice. Especially when you add one of these effect pieces to it. And if you want a powered up fist, you can just take the Wonder Man from the Abomination Wave and put it on this Magneto, which looks freaking terrific. This is how he looks sporting the Magneto head from the Jubilee Build-A-Figure series. And if you want to, you can have your Magneto sport the lightning effects from the Apocalypse Wave Magneto, because he doesn't just control and manipulate metal, he does control the entire electromagnetic field. So this is a nice way to really be creative and use Magneto for some cool display of powers in your action figure photography. And for some fun comparison time, here he is next to the horrible looking Magneto from the Jubilee Wave. As you can see, he looks so hunched over, man. Like this dude's suffering from osteoporosis or something like that. I really did not like this Magneto at all. I do not have the Toy Biz one to compare. I wish I still had that figure just for the helmet, but it probably would have been too big. But what I'm going to do is, if I get an extra head, maybe off of eBay or something like that, I'm going to boil this helmet off this head, or one of the heads, and try to put it on this Magneto head, or just actually keep it for a display and make a display where he's just holding his helmet without his own head in it. So definitely want to capture a few scenes like that for photography. And once again, here he is next to the Apocalypse Wave Black and Red Magneto. Here he is next to the 2016 Juggernaut Build-A-Figure figure. Can't wait for the new one. Really excited for that one with the Colossus 2-pack. Here he is next to the 2007 or 2008 Build-A-Figure Blob. Here he is next to Sabretooth. Here he is next to his other daughter Polaris. Here he is next to Mystique, and they look really great together. And here he is next to Professor Charles Xavier, and these two look great together. And to cover articulation with this Magneto, his head moves up that high, it moves down that far, moves left, right, and it's got some pivoting. You got his arms that move all the way up like so, and then down, and then they rotate around, and then you got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel, wrist hinge. I have crunch that moves this far forward and this far back. Waist swivel, legs move that far apart, his legs move that high up and that far back, and he's got leg rotation, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, calf boot swivel, ankles move up, down, and he has ankle pivot. So my overall thoughts with this Magneto is he isn't perfect. You know, I do have my gripes with it, but I have at least more likes than dislikes about the figure. So, you know, again, my gripes with the flesh painted behind the teeth and, you know, the upper torso not matching up to the Apocalypse Wave, or, you know, not being on the right buck to match that 90s Jim Lee era Magneto, which I pointed out the Red Guardian would have been the perfect body mold for that. But overall, he's still a fun figure, and it's an updated Magneto that we've been desperately needing. Just anything to replace that Jubilee Wave Magneto. I just feel like the attempts between Toy Biz and Hasbro, I feel like they have yet to perfectly nail down Magneto. I'm sure if Hasbro takes a crack at it again with another classic Magneto, I'm sure they'll knock it out the ballpark with, you know, some of the feedback they'll receive from the community and all that. But I really still feel strongly about this Magneto being way better than the Jubilee Wave. And again, you know, despite my gripes, I still love this figure. And now to take a look at Pietro. Oh, Quicksilver. This figure is so freaking dope. I've been waiting for an updated Quicksilver figure, and I am just happy it is finally here. As you can see, you can capture this figure in a nice running pose, which is super freaking essential for this figure to have, is to definitely nail down that running pose. And he balances pretty well, so let's try out a balance test. And I'm just going to tap my hand onto the surface here. Yep, he balances real good. He passed the balance test for me. So again, great looking figure. And let's take a closer look at Pietro. And just looking at the paint job right here for Pietro, it is looking very sweet. It is this very, very nice light blue. And I thought it was metallic at first because my lights were pointing at it and it looks metallic, but it's not. It's really, really nice. What is kind of metallic or kind of pearly looking is his gloves, his boots, and you see some marbleization, swirly whirly thing going on right there. That bugs a lot of people, but I don't know. I really don't let it get to me, so it doesn't really bother me. And you got it on the lightning bolt as well. And I have been seeing people have issues with the lightning bolt not coming clean. And as you can see on mine, it definitely seeps through. I kind of wish they used the paint, that hard glossy paint they used on the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman, because that was some strong paint. But it's not applied here, and as you can see, you know, unfortunately you can't see his back before, you know, opening it in the package. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some that are really bad, but luckily, you know, mine isn't too bad. He is in his blue uniform, as I mentioned before, and for the Brotherhood on this pack, I really would have preferred him in the green costume because he spent majority of his time in the Brotherhood sporting that green costume, even though he did, in I think his first appearance, he was like blue in the Brotherhood. But again, majority of the time, it was green in the Brotherhood, and this blue was mainly for the Avengers. So, oh man, I'm gonna want to put this guy in my Avengers display then, until they make us a green Quicksilver to go with my Brotherhood. But I don't know. I'll see where I'll display him where I feel like it. But he is so freaking cool, man. Definitely on the Spider-Man white 2099 body. And it works. Got the butterfly joints, so you can, you know, create some dynamic posing, as you saw before. The hair complements that a lot. That's one thing I really love about this hair sculpt, is that it looks like he is just running real fast and his hair is, you know, blowing back, and it's so freaking cool. I like that a lot. And you can always tell in the older comics of Quicksilver when he had the little, you know, kind of horny shaped, the horn-like shaped hair on his head. That was pretty funny. It's not here, but I don't know. I guess it looks like it's slicked back here, I guess. I don't know, but it looks cool. His face is not the Peter Parker, though. A lot of people are saying that, and it's not. It's definitely a new sculpt. I think they even said that at San Diego Comic-Con last year, the Hasbro team, during the panel. So it's definitely, that Peter Parker has a very strong smirk. This one is definitely different looking back at it. And just a fun note, you can put this Pietro head on Magneto, and man, looking like his daddy. This looks good. Maybe I will try that trick I mentioned earlier of boiling off the helmet piece and probably putting it on this figure and see how it looks on this head. Man, that looks freaking nice. Reminds me of how Magneto looked in Wolverine and the X-Men. God, I missed that cartoon so much. I wish they could renew it for a second season one of these days. I was super hooked on that show. As far as accessory goes, besides the two closed fists, he has an extra set of running hands, and that's pretty much about it. As far as articulation goes, his head moves up that high, moves down that low, moves left and right. Got some pivoting. His arms move up and down, as I would hope, since, you know, he has to run. So shoulders move that far up and that far down. Goes all around. Got the butterfly shoulder rocker joint, which I love. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Could slap his face. Got the wrist hinge. and wrist swivel. Ab crunch moves that far down, that far up. Got waist swivel. Legs move that far apart. Got leg rotation. Leg moves that far up and that far back. And you got the thigh swivel. Double jointed knees so he could kick his ass really fast. Calf swivel. Ankles move up, down, and he's got the awesome ankle pivot. So my overall thoughts on Quicksilver is that he is a freaking solid figure. He's a super dope good figure. I can see him being a lot of people's favorite in this pack. Now, I do not have the 2007 Quicksilver figure that came with Blob, as I sold that one, but I will say that the paint on that Quicksilver was solid. The white and the blue paint was really, really good. I don't understand how the paint job came out better in those darker days of that specific Hasbro timeline for that figure compared to this one. I just wish he had a strong, solid paint, and I wish they kind of borrowed from the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman, where that white paint, glossy, that white glossy paint was strong and solid. And now to cover Scarlet Witch, I gotta say one thing. This figure is absolutely gorgeous. Wow, she just blew me away. That head sculpt, this head sculpt is just amazing. I mean, just look at that. The paint on it, the lipstick, the dark lipstick, the eyeliners, man. Them eyeliners on fleek, them brows on fleek, that hair on fleek, everything on fleek, fleek. But it's for real. Yeah, it's amazing, and it gives, I feel like this is a Adam Hughes inspired Scarlet Witch. This is the first thing I thought of when I first saw this. I'm like, oh my god, this is Adam Hughes' art right here. This is beautiful. I love the hair. This hair is epic. Like, my god, it is gorgeous. I love the sculpt on the hair and the paint. It is just absolutely beautiful, and I will say that this has the best face sculpt out of the entire 3-pack. She is absolutely gorgeous. I love the metallic pink she's sporting. As you can see here, it's got some, marbleization going on, but that's again, it doesn't bother me though. Really just love the paint on here, and it sports the old Scarlet Witch body, but we get no freaking heels. Yes, she can actually stand, and oh man, I am happy about that so much. This is in her classic color rendition, so I definitely want to get an extra to display with my classic Avengers. Actually, I think I might just display this one with the classic Avengers and display the other Scarlet Witch with the Brotherhood. I don't know, you let me know which one you think would be better suited for which display, because, again, I'm very thematic. Again, oh man, just beautiful. Overall, just, oh, she is super sexy. And she has those glove cuffs that are seen on the Kitty Pryde figure, so that is basically about it as far as the sculpt, besides the freaking epic goddess looking of the head, man. This head sculpt, I can't get over it. Oh man, my eyes are just like, just glued to this. Love it. The headdress is looking really nice. Unfortunately, if you guys have your Scarlet Witch, or when you're gonna get it, inspect the headdress, because there is a big gap. Let me try to get a light drawn over here. There's a big gap right there that shows a lot of skin, so yeah, that's a bummer. I can probably try to see if I can heat this up and then push it back and glue it, but I don't know if I want to risk that. As far as accessory goes, she comes with these two swirly effect pieces, which the MCU Scarlet Witch also sports, is just in a different color. So this is like a bright pink, and it's got some sparkly specks on it. And if you wanted to add more accessories, you can use the Hex Bolt from the Odin Wave Scarlet Witch and add it onto this one, which looks pretty good, This effect piece is pretty played out, though. but again, works for Scarlet Witch. And for a quick comparison, here she is next to the Odin Wave Scarlet Witch. As you can see, she's in, brighter colors, shows some skin on top. This is definitely going off the classic Scarlet Witch that Toy Biz failed to attempt. That was horrible. Oh my god, I'm just happy where he moved away from that. Look how far we come, guys. Look at that. But yeah, the heels on here, hard to stand, but I had her like on a stand or hanging up from one of the twisty ties. So you can see the difference between the colors and height difference as well, because those heels. Ooh. Here she is next to her former boo Ski Wonder Man. Here she is next to her main boo, Vision. So as you can see, this one looks way better next to this classic Scarlet Witch, as the Odin Wave Scarlet Witch, was towering over him with the monster heels. So this looks really good. I would have preferred for this guy to be a little bit taller, but still, it looks good at least. And here she is next to her MCU movie counterpart. And here she is next to her brother Pietro Quicksilver from this same exact set. To cover articulation, her head doesn't even move up because of the beautifully sculpted hair. I don't know, it doesn't really move down, so you're just gonna have her looking straight most of the time. Head moves left, right, barely any pivoting. Again, this head sculpt or hair sculpt is gonna hinder everything. You got the arms that move that far up, and it moves down, and it moves all around, but I'm not gonna do it because of the cape here. You got the single jointed elbow. You have wrist swivel and wrist hinge. You got booby crunch that is pretty non-existent. I mean, this is all you're gonna get out of it front and back, but you got the booby swivel and the booby rocking pivot, and you got the legs that move that far apart. You have her legs that move that far up, which she can really kick high, and it moves that far back. You got the leg rotation, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and that's as far as it goes, so no heel to the butt there. And you got the ankles that move up, down, and the ankle pivot. And here we have the main members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which looks freaking awesome. Man, I cannot wait to add Avalanche and Pyro and freaking Toad. I want a freaking Toad. I need a freaking Toad. Please, San Diego Comic-Con reveal. I'm calling it. And this is looking amazing. Can't wait for them to make Pyro, Avalanche, and Toad to add to this already epic team. Maybe I should add this Polaris as well. Polaris, whatever. However you want to call her. So, man, this looks freaking fantastic together. And I just wish for more X-Men villains to come. But overall, guys, this is a fantastic box set. I will go as far as saying this is probably the greatest 3-pack that Marvel Legends has ever produced. I absolutely had a blast taking pics with these guys. I can't wait for you to see my pics at the end of this video, so be sure to check that. Despite my gripes, it's still an amazing set. It's still some good solid figures. Again, we still haven't gotten the perfect Magneto figure that we can call the definitive Magneto figure, but I will say that this, as far as Marvel Legends is concerned, is the definitive Magneto figure. Scarlet Witch is by far superior than the last Scarlet Witch that came out. And Quicksilver is just a great figure, it would have been cool if he came with like a swoosh type of wind effect to make him seem like he's going fast, but I can't say, man, they knocked it out of the ballpark with that guy. I can see a lot of people choosing Quicksilver as their favorite out of this set. For me, Magneto is still the star of the show out of this box set. He is just, again, despite my gripes, I still have my likes more than dislikes for this figure, so definitely the star of the set. But Scarlet Witch has the best head sculpt out of this set. It is definitely worth a buy. Alright everyone, that was my review of the X-Men Marvel Legends Family Matters 3-pack. Leave a like rating if you liked the video. Leave a comment and we'll chat about it. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you're following me on Instagram. Link is in the description below. share and subscribe, and enjoy my pictures at the end of this video. Alright, see you on the next review. Peace, peace.